I'm just kind of wondering how your thoughts have evolved on how to use your outlet to cover an industry that's really been in a tremendous amount of change over the last 10 years or so.
It has been, and it's been interesting to think about, like, let's go to trolls for a second, all the comments on Bring a Trailer. Before I bought my E-Type, I don't know a thing about V12 E-Type, not one thing. I mean, I know they have 12 cylinders, okay?
Yep.
But I let the trolls just pick that part. They were like buzzards on the carcass. And the owner came back right away to every one of them with really good answers. I let them vet the car for me.
Yeah. By the way, that tells you something about an owner when they're able to answer those questions and they're upbeat about it. Those are the kind of people you want to buy a car from, right? And that used to be harder to determine sometimes when you would meet somebody in person and only have a few minutes with a car.
All we're trying to do is find out what we're buying. Well, think about this. We would go to an auction in Monterey. We went for 25 years, I've gone. And you'd walk into a big tent. Let's say it's Russo and Steele's tent that was there. And you walk up to a car, and if it's an Alpha Spider, there's probably 2 or 3 guys around it who you already know. And then the 3 of you kind of walk around the car and look at it and talk to each other. And that's it. You know, there's no shots of the undercarriage. There's no communication with the seller. You're really buying on blind faith in that situation. And that's true of any land auction. It's not to disparage them because they bring good cars together and they also bring motivated buyers and sellers.
Sure.
And they're a community celebration, just like when you were at Phillips Farm.
Absolutely.
You're the community. And when you go to a land auction, you're part of the community there. There was no way to know in those days. I mean, think how excited we all got when Auto Trader came along because they had a picture of the car.
Absolutely. I would read it. Every time I went out to lunch, I'd pick up an Auto Trader. I mean, I still love it. I like all these, any way to look at cars, Keith, gets me excited. So I love your magazine. I love Auto Trader. Listen, I was a Bring a Trailer fan for many years, just applied to every job Randy put up on the website till I got one. I never thought we'd kind of end up where we are, but it's for the same reason that I love Auto Trader, right?
Well, let me tell you the beginning. I was at the California Millie and Martin Swig brought me up. He said, Keith, I want you to meet Randy. He's got this thing going on that might turn into something someday. And so Randy and I talked, became friends. I bought a Saab Sonnet from Randy, one of the first cars that was sold before the auctions, when it was just...
Wait, was this Randy's orange Sonnet? You bought that from him? Interesting. Sonnet. I remember reading about that car.
And I've always appreciated, just, again, like you said, the straightforward nature. And all we're trying to do is find out what we're buying.
Yep, absolutely. We're just trying to expand the love of the hobby. The love, I mean, how would you want to be dealt with, right? Be straightforward, be honest. Tell me all the problems the car has. I can't tell you how many emails I've sent Keith over the years trying to convince sellers it is in your best interest, if you want somebody to believe you on the internet, to tell me all the problems the car has, right? Let's put them all out there. But people get scared about saying those things because they're afraid it'll diminish the value of the car. And it's counterintuitive, but it actually helps people feel confident. It increases their faith in the seller when you're just honest about that stuff. And it's, we're kind of re-educating people after decades of them acting the opposite, right? Trying to hide those things, trying to spin them into something that they're not. And it's a little bit of a re-education program, but it's nice to see, so many people are kind of copying the Bring a Trailer style now.
I will tell you, your secret sauce is the directness of the descriptions and also the trolls.
Yeah. They're fantastic.
People who get mad at the bad trolls, you just filter them out. I mean, it's no big deal. You go, that person's a jerk. That person doesn't know that. And you don't worry about it because you can always read in a thread who really knows what they're talking about.
Bring a Trailer is above all else, and that's thanks in part to you, Keith, from your early championship of the site. It's a community. That's maybe the number one thing we are. Most people who are registered users aren't buyers and sellers. We don't have their credit card information on file. They're just here to look at awesome cars and say that they're great, or they're the expert on a red block Volvo motor and they'll tell you why it's not a tractor. And, maybe that person's never going to buy or sell, but we want their expertise and we want them to comment on the Volvo auctions.